Equestria Girls Special number 1, Dance Magic.
Dance Magic.
Which, these make me wonder if this is either, I talked about this before, but this is either a cause or an effect. Either this is, they were going to try an Equestria Girls series on its own, and this is a
test run.
Test run, a pilot of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
Or they were thinking of making it, and they got as far as getting 3 kind of test scripts and went, not really, and we're just going to go ahead and we'll just throw it up as a special. We already paid for the scripts. Here. We'll just animate it, throw it out there. We don't really think it should be a full series, but the specials are fine. Or they could be just doing it specials for specials, considering they don't have any Equestria Girls, just to keep it up in the in the mind of the pony watchers.
Ponies.
Yes, that's what we're talking about, Matrock. Well, humans in this case, actually. So we open on a car wash fundraiser. And I have to say, Rarity, that hairdryer isn't going to do anything to dry a car.
Yeah, for some reason, that more seemed like Pinky's thing. Doing something that did not make sense.
Well, she's high energy, so it's the she does the scrubbing bit, which makes sense for her character as well.
True.
She gets a net non sequitur later in the show, but yeah, she doesn't do anything particularly wacky. Rarity kind of does a stereotypical thing, but see, we find out Big Mac drives a beat up red pickup truck. It's solidifying the kind of, I assume the apples are still working in Orchard in this universe.
Yeah, I could see that.
They basically washed every car on campus.
Which turned out just to be Big Macs.
Yep.
Well, I think everybody had already left at that point. He was the last one.
They could have raised double the funds if they did a bikini car wash.
But that would also not be probably that would probably not be that would not go well under their what is it called?
Dress code?
No, there's a standards and practices that probably wouldn't have gone over well with Hasbro standards and practices.
Yeah.
So we find out Pinky hosted a bake sale, Twilight Fluttershy had a doggy daycare, Dash and Sunset had the idea for the car wash, and still they're only half the total for the Everfree fundraiser.
Yeah, exactly half.
Which I find interesting because maybe I misheard at the beginning of it that this was to save the Everfree, but didn't they already do that with that and with the end of Legends of Everfree? Maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but didn't they save them? And then later on they say, oh, it's to fix up Everfree. Okay, well, why was there a deadline to fix Everfree? Because
maybe there was a health inspection and all of that magic fucking things up was like, yeah, this is a health code violation. That's unsafe. Holy crap! That I've got to shut you down. You violate every code in the book, and
this
a few
place
that I didn't know existed.
This place is filled with dirt. It's a forest.
And trees.
Dirt.
Yeah, but there's still health code violations as far as building codes and the fact that those magical trees just destroyed everything.
It's just curious. There's a certain, I guess, cutoff date, but I guess it could be an inspection there. But You'd think they could fix it up and then schedule the inspection, but I don't know.
Not if it's a
Maybe-
surprise inspection.
Well,
Public
if they're
places.
not actively working, if it's closed down and they're saying they're renovating it, the inspectors I wouldn't think would come until they had finished, because otherwise it would be a waste of their time.
Or maybe it's like there's a person that's like, you know what? I want to tear down this camp to buy to make a super mall.
Again, I don't know, but it does seem odd that there's this timeline for fixing it up, a specific date. Now, you may want to say we want to get it done before the summer so we can have guests and whatnot, but we need the money by this, by
Or
kind of this
or
area.
they did have these things scheduled. They did have a camping group scheduled, and they needed it fixed up by the time they came.
That's possible. Okay, so anyway, Big Mac hands Dash paper money, but the safe Twilight walks up with has bits. Perhaps the cash is on the other side, and we're just seeing the coins. From our perspective, it's just like that side of it's for coins, and cash is on the other side. But seems interesting to decide on one or the other. Let's see. Rarity claims to have a great idea since it's her turn, even boasting about it. We all know what happens with pride. Go with before the fall, or the winter, or the spring, whatever season.
Unless you are great and powerful.
Well, still. But the funnier bit is Spike immediately calls her out on having nothing. You got nothing.
No, I don't.
You got nothing, don't you?
Go Spike. Spike, in some places they eat dogs.
What?
Hey, let's go to the Chow House.
Where they cook literal chows. No.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's getting rather dark. So.
But it's only morning.
It's cloudy. So she goes to the mall to
Here
window.
too.
She goes to the mall to window shop for inspiration and finds a music video competition is going on with a cash prize. Convenient. Plot point is convenient. The fact that she also walked around this entire mall for like 3.5 hours and didn't see this beforehand. She must be going through a lot of stores. Even though she said she was window shopping. Or this is just a gigantic mall. One of those things.
The Mall of Equestria.
Although, if it's anything like the mall near my house, it's actually segmented by there's a giant there's a department store in the middle of the mall, so you have to go through the department store to get to the other side of the mall. So she might have been on the wrong side of the mall.
I don't know. Yeah, mine everything's attached to kind of the internal kind of walkway, so there's not like, yeah, those are, I think that's most of them. You don't have to go through a store to get to another store, but
no, there's a central there's a walkway, but in the middle of the walkway is a store, just one, and then it's basically two halves of the mall.
Yeah, well, ours just goes straight through, but yeah, okay, so we get. So at this point,
I'm just trying to sew up those plot holes you keep pointing out.
Yeah, and there's one big one that's coming up that I'm.
Well, I haven't actually seen it, so it's easier for me to try to sew up the plot holes.
Yeah. So, Sour Sweet, Sunny Flare, Sugarcoat, and Lemon Zest meet her there, and apparently it's been a few months since Friendship Games. So, Legend of Everfree, is somewhere in the middle between those two.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Principal Cadence is now in charge.
Ooh, Cadence.
And apparently, if they can raise the money, they can have a dance on a yacht.
Yacht, 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 yacht.
Which seems like that's I don't know. Again, I don't know the going rate on renting a yacht for a dance, but that seems rather expensive. See,
Unless you know somebody who has a yacht
this is true.
and they give you a good deal on it.
See, so Rarity blabs about her concept openly
Yes,
for the music
Word
video.
of advice: don't tell the competition your plans.
It would be one thing if they were honorable competition, but they're the Shadow Bolts.
Yeah, just
Like they said, it's going to take more than one, one friendship games thing to kind of restore them, or to redeem them, to make them the good people.
yes,
I
just
do
like
find it funny that that Cadence is the head of the Shadow Bolts.
Yeah. Since
It's-
probably got fired.
but just like Pony Rarity, who blabbed her mouth to that one pony about her clothing designs.
Yeah. Yeah, that clothing design. Yeah, that's a repeated thing. I guess it's something in her character. She's very generous, I suppose. Oh, tangent, but it goes back to. Oh, no, I don't want to talk about it yet. I'll talk about it maybe after the stream or something.
Okay.
But it's something that I found out about the perfect pair that's kind of cool. But I don't want to spoil it if somebody hasn't seen it. Because if they're watching
We discussed it last.
if they're watching it in order, those two episodes aren't supposed to be out yet. So if they're just watching the American release order, this is EQG Special 1 is released in American thing. But if they don't want to watch our review, they can wait until after it comes out in the American release and then watch it then. But okay. So Rarity relays the idea to the rest and says they would need to use some of the fundraiser money to buy the costumes for this thing.
Okay, that makes sense, I
The
guess.
prize money would be double what they need for fixing up Everfree. Now, this is where I have a bit of a problem. Okay? So, Twilight brings up that while it would quadruple the funds if they win, okay, it would also lose all their money if they lose.
Yeah.
That's a real problem for me. It just the rest of it is fine. Okay? If you cut out this one little bit about Rarity using the fundraiser money, I would be fine with this. This episode wouldn't have I wouldn't have a big problem with it. But this is a big problem, I think, because for me, it always seems like, to my kind of code, you shouldn't risk money that's already kind of set aside for something like that. It's like, oh yeah, we may or may not actually, get any money, because at least, if you were using it for like, okay, we're going to use this money as seed money for like a pancake breakfast, you could sell tickets to it beforehand and ensure that you had, the money that, well, that you wouldn't need then, because then you just have the ticket money. But if you need to not risk the money you had because it's not your money. If you want to play with your own money, you want to gamble your money, fine, that's your money. But gambling with something that already kind of has a, it's already
Purpose.
set aside for the auspices of fixing the camp, that feels to me like a little bit of, you're being irresponsible. Because what if they, I know they have plot armor, they're going to win, it's just going to happen because this is Equestria Girls, they're the main characters, they're going to win. somehow, some way, they're gonna win.
Yeah, of
You know,
course.
but this seems like a bad message to put out there, especially when Twilight brings up this problem, this very legitimate problem, and they're just like, whatever, and she just like completely caves to the peer pressure. It's like, that seems like a really bad message to send to teens and preteens. It's like, yeah, it's okay to risk money you've gotten for a fundraiser on a thing that may or may not actually pan out.
And one would think that like Rarity would already have like a bunch of outfits at her place.
Yeah, considering during the movies, she just like rolls in with like all this stuff, and it's like, really, all that you don't have something. I mean,
but I love buying stuff. I just can't help it.
And yeah, if they had just removed that plot point and found some other reason for just cut that out, because there really isn't necessary for the plot. It just heightens the drama a little bit for no good reason. I think you could easily take that out of it, and I don't think it would have caused anything, because she goes back to the store. The only reason she goes back to the cloth store later on is to get more stuff. She makes a comment about, good thing I budgeted for emergency cloth. That's the reason she went to this. She went. That's how she explains how she paid for it, but she doesn't actually need to explain that. She could just go there, get it, and then look at it.
She did seem to have a lot of stuff for wanting to just fix a tear, though.
Yeah, she maybe, I don't know. But it
you
seems
always get extra fabric.
Yes,
Also,
you need
a yard. You need a yard. You get 3.
No, I mean,
Especially
I
if
don't
it's
mean
on
like
sale.
the extra fabric in general. I just mean the like extra types of fabric.
in the bag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. That reminds me.
Maybe they had a sale. Trust me, you go into a fabric store, you're not coming out with just what you want.
That reminds me. It probably would have been smarter to, practice the dance before you wore the costumes.
True.
Just saying.
But yeah, that seemed that whole plot point sends a bad message and could easily be excised from the whole story. It sends a couple really bad messages, and it could have been easily removed from the story without really confronting it. You could have just said she had these on hand, and she, the reason she went back to the mall and ended up seeing the shadow bolts was because she needed to go get some extra cloth to patch up what Rainbow Dash had. That there was no need to mention the risking of the money. That was just it was unnecessary. It was an unnecessary bad message, and I think that really could have been cut out pretty easily.
Yeah.
Where was I? Okay, after my little rant. So they begin to practice the dance, but they have difficulty with the complex moves. And Sunset accidentally rips Dash's jacket, which causes Rarity to rush the mall for backup fabric, and the Shadow Bolts are practicing a ripoff of her idea.
Yep. Which was to be expected.
Yes. So Rarity's beside herself with this. It turns out she does have a fainting couch in her room.
Hey,
which is
can't live without a fainting couch.
Completely expected. It's almost too cliche for her character, but yes. And when she doesn't really do the whole pony, whoosh, just kind of falling back, kind of throwing herself. She kind of daintily lays down on the fainting couch. It's like, okay, but cries, and obviously the mascara running thing happens.
I need to buy a fainting couch.
Do you faint a lot?
No, but I sleep a lot.
then you just need...
That's what a bed is for.
Yes, this is what a bed is for.
Yes, no. Yeah, but she pulls it out of nowhere. I could pull out of nowhere at work and go...
So really, you want access to hammer space.
Yes, yes.
Don't we all want access to hammer space and just go...
I know. Imagine all the books I could hide in there.
Mm-hmm. Just, oh, I need this rubber chicken. There's a rubber chicken. Anyway.
Why would you need a rubber chicken? What is wrong with you?
Why wouldn't you need a rubber chicken? It's a classic comedic instrument.
No, it's not. It's stupid. And not in the funny, stupid way.
You and I have very different opinions on this.
Yes, we do.
I once owned a rubber chicken. So, anyway.
I knew a dog who owned a rubber chicken. That is not saying much.
Anyway.
Anyway. Despite our comedic differences. So Applejack says it is maybe for the best because their dancing wasn't the greatest. So Rarity, not wanting to give up, wants to go give them a piece of her mind and drags Twilon to infiltrate.
I have no idea where it is.
Yes. She could tell
It's
you
called Google Maps.
Yeah, and then within the school, I was like, Nerdy's like, where's the dance? There's the dance room. She's like, I don't know. I can tell you where the library is.
It's like, you're great, Helm Twilight. You're great.
Okay. Which brings up, what day is it that they can all have this happen and the Crystal Preps kids would still be at school? All the Crystal Prep kids are at school. I guess it's just after school that all this happens, but it's a really tight day if that's the case.
Or it could be a weekend because school is still open on weekends for projects and,
I guess it depends on the
after school activities. So it could
depends
be
on
a
your
weekend.
School, I suppose. Some are, some aren't. Okay. So they infiltrate and confront them, but they laugh at them, saying they're going to do it anyway. So they're thinking about doing something new, which would have to be done rather quickly. Rainbow Dash says, we're very good at doing things fast. Then we get Pinky's big non sequitur. She builds a chocolate tower for some reason as an example of them doing something fast. It's like, okay, I mean, it's Pinky. It's just, it's Pinky.
Yeah, just don't try to make sense out of Pinky. It's gonna hurt your mind.
Anyway, so they start brainstorming. Applejack just says the music video should be something about baking apple fritters. Rainbow does a daring do scene. And Pinkie Pie does a weird on the moon with cheese thing.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
I mean, it makes total sense.
She misses cheese sandwich just that much.
Yeah.
It's the red string of fate. She, in every dimension, she and cheese sandwich are simply fated to be.
Exactly.
Went a little elusive there for a second. I apologize. So Rarity freaks out at this lack of helpful ideas and goes off to sulk with some ice cream at the, I assume, ice cream parlor or diner of some stripe. Where she overhears the Shadow Bolt 4 saying they don't have their own original music and haven't submitted the video yet, as they had told Rarity that they were very close to submitting. They hadn't done it yet, but they were very close. At this point, Rarity realizes and proposes an alliance with the Rainbow Music and Shadowbolt Dancing Help, which leads to a very very nice song. And it's very par for the course for Pony. It's good.
Yeah.
It's not like an emotional powerhouse like the Pony I Want to Be or something like that, but it's good. And we actually, Pinky makes a freaking crisscross reference. She wears in the video at one point. She wears backwards clothing, and it's like, okay, Pinky. That how many kids of this generation that are watching this are actually going to get a crisscross reference?
I don't even get the reference.
Okay, Crisscross, early 90s band, 2 kids. They wore their clothes backwards. They did fairly well for hip hop. They really did. They were a very popular kind of hip hop show, but they were very young, and they wore their clothes backwards.
Nah.
That's all it was. Of course, I could be. I'm not hip with the hop lately, so it could be a new ref. It could be somebody else taking influence from Crisscross and doing it again, and I just don't know about them. So I am not very hip with the hop today.
Hip hop, hippity hop, hop, hoppity hop, hop.
No. So the combined group wins the prize and both get what they want in the end. Rarity offers the Rainbooms up as a band for the yacht dance, which check with them, but I think I think they would probably go along with it. So overall, other than that one little slice in that middle, that one little scene, other than that, it was a good show. It was a good episode. Outside of that needless little plot line with risking the fundraiser's money on it, I think it was a good episode. Outside of that, I think if that had been eliminated, if you'd stuck some other stuff in there to fill in the gaps, where little bits of time that that filled, which couldn't have been more than a minute or so. If you come up with some other dialogue to fill that bit, or visual gags to fill that bit, I think this would have been a fine episode. And not really a big cooperation over competition, I guess, is what they're going after with it. But yeah, that's yeah.
Let's see. 2 notes I want to make are Rarity's ice cream eating.
Yeah, that carries over between dimensions.
And yum 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 yum.
Oh, yeah.
Yum, yum,
Oh.
yum, yum, yum.
Well, of course,
love-
darling. She's got to be overdramatic, no matter what the universe.
And the other note is, it would have been so funny. Like, I know it technically would have been tragic, but it would have been funny if they ended up losing to a music video that Derpy put in.
Yeah,
Although technically it wouldn't be that tragic because Derpy would have put it in for the Everfree as well. Because
No, I'm pretty sure that you'd see her dragging a giant cart of muffins.
fair enough.
but yeah, but yeah, it would have been funny if they could have tacked it on again to fill that time space. They could have gone, they could have gone to watch the announcement of who is winning instead of just having it just show. They could have had it go, and second place, and just show the end of a thing by Derpy or something.
Derpy dancing
Yeah.
muffins.
They could have had
It's
like
the muffin dance by
3,
Derpy.
2, 1, and had like Trixie at 3, Derpy at 2, and then Rain Boom's Shadow Bolts combo for number 1. And I
Yeah,
think that
it
would have
kinda-
that could have filled the time you needed.
It kind of makes me think that they were the only ones who even signed up.
Yeah.
It's quite possible, but I think that would have filled the time nicely, and it would have allowed for a few more gags. You would have had, just the tail end of a music video from
You would have had
Derpy.
more Trixie.
Yeah,
Which,
Trixie.
certain people would appreciate.
I know everybody loves my Trixie voice.
Go bugger yourself, you little worm.
Uh,
Oh, that's bad. Anyway, any other final thoughts?
so there's only gonna be like 3 of these, right?
Yes, and like
More
the
coming.
other, like the Canadian release, they've been also kind of released for a while. But they will come out one next week and one the week after, I believe. And but we will not be here next week for other.
Yes, for a
we
reason.
have people going on vacation and doing other things, and
Yes.
so we will.
I'll set up a video to upload when we're supposed to stream next week, saying, "Hey, sorry guys, no stream."